Welcome to not only a post-combine mock draft, but a post-Russell Wilson trade mock draft. This one, it's a little janky. I ain't gonna lie to you. But there's some trades in there. Of course, Seattle, they're picking 9, or are they? I don't know. We'll get into all that in a minute, but what's crack-a-lacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Let's go ahead, get into the nitty-gritty. Jacksonville Jaguars, Aiden Hutchinson. They just threw the franchise tag on Cam Robinson. They said Cam Robinson and Walker Little will be their left tackles moving forward next year. So, ta-da! They're going Aiden Hutchinson. All right, I was just checking. I was just checking if there was any news. If I'd like to know beforehand, before I do a mock draft, if any other first round picks are getting thrown around. But yeah, Aiden Hutchinson, for a lot of people, he's the top unanimous overall pick, first overall pick. It's kind of obvious to go there, especially if you're gonna bring back Cam Robinson. Maybe they're not swayed enough. I don't think Evan Neal or Icky or Charles Cross are good enough to pass up on Hutchinson. So they go with that there. No qualms about it. This is where things get spicy. I tried to trade back. Didn't feel good about it. So I went ahead and I took Malik Willis. And you might be like, what? And here, hear me out. Listen. Dan Campbell, at least the coaching staff for the Lions, got a good look at Malik Willis Senior Bowl week. Dan Campbell, during Combine, he's like, I want to bring in some gritty guys, swift up the culture, blah, 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 blah. Dan Campbell being Dan Campbell. Malik Willis is a guy you don't have to commit to this year. You got him sit behind Jared Goff. You know already the big arm he brings, the athletic talent that he brings. You have an offensive line that, for the most part, it's good. It's real good. So, I mean, hey, man, you can, even a year removed from now, you start Malik, you're entrenched with a very good run game. If they really think this is their guy, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't think Malik Willis makes it out of the top 10 with a team like Seattle sitting there at 9, or even Carolina sitting there at 6, even though rumor is they kind of fancy Kenny Pickett. I don't know how true that is, though. I'm going to be honest. I'm not exactly high on Kenny Pickett. So I went ahead, I just grabbed him here. I figured, hey, this is a change of pace of typically this is a change of pace. I don't think I've done this in a mock draft yet, so let's see where it goes. This mock draft, it's a blend of predictive along with not trying to go too much out of the realm of possibility in terms of my big board, which, by the way, you can check out my Patreon if you want the full big board, full prospect rankings. But before we get into more, you might be like, yo, that's a dope shirt. Well, check this out. Are you tired of spending $80 to $100 on your favorite team's jerseys just to watch those players go to greener pastures? Then check out Team Jersey Pros. They do custom-made shirts, jerseys, and hoodies. And with promo code Broshmo, all caps, you get 10% off that order. You can get some fine drip for only $30 to $60, depending on how you want to customize it. You can go with a football jersey, basketball jersey. I personally went with a baseball jersey. Even got the logo there. It just looks nice. It's one of the best ways to support the channel. Don't forget promo code Broshmo, all caps, gets you that 10% off. But anyway, back to the video. That's right. If you want some dope drip, check out Team Jersey Pros. Throw in promo code Broshmo, save 10%. Let them know that I sent you. But let's go ahead, get into the next pick, Houston Texans. We're going with Evan Neal. Listen, I really tossed and turned between KT and Evan Neal, and ultimately I'm gonna side with if if everything about Laramie Tunsil potentially getting traded is true, then I think likely they go in on the tackle class with one of these top picks. Currently, Evan Neal, he's my top guy, top tackle. And then the New York Jets, I thought about Icky, but I was like, man, I can't pass on KT. Listen, I know there's some character stuff out there about Icky. I didn't get any of that from how he talked to the combine. It is what it is. I don't think character is an issue. We know from a physical and athletic standpoint, that's not an issue either. KT is a top prospect in this class. He brings some mean pass rushing off the edge. We know how much Saleh loves him pass rushers. He could never have too many. So they go KT here, and sounds like they're going to potentially extend George Fant. So yeah, went with KT. Then the New York Giants, no brainer for me. Icky Ikem Ikwanu. Went with the sticky Icky. He tested pretty well at the combine. Giants, they said, hey, we need to address the offensive line if we're going to give Daniel Jones a fair evaluation. Give him some protection, see how he can work inside a clean pocket rather than, almost getting hit immediately. And hey, you know what? Offensive line help. You know who else that helps? Well, Saquon Barkley, the guy you spent the number 2 overall pick on a few years ago. So, and then the Carolina Panthers, again, this is such a tough pick. For me, it was a little less tough with Malik Willis now off the board. Rumor is they fancy Kenny Pickett. I don't buy into that. Scott, is it Fitterer? I think is how you say his name. Said he wants to this offseason, whether he was probably talking about free agency, could be talking about through the draft as well. He wanted to really focus on the offensive line. There's reports out that Christensen's their left tackle. They're going to be really looking at going after some guards. I don't know. Charles Cross is here. We're taking Charles Cross for the Carolina Panthers. Now, the New York Giants. Ooh, Kyle Hamilton. Ooh, I like Kyle Hamilton. Didn't test exactly well. If you're talking about the 40, to be fair, it looked like he was running a 3-cone doing his 40. It wasn't entirely correct. I don't know. Got to work on that technique. Just run straight, my man. Run straight. So Kyle Hamilton, he may fall. I don't see him falling out of top 10. I really find that hard to believe. But I think if they were to go to secondary, they're probably going to go corner because James Bradbury, they're talking about him being a potential trade target. Maybe they find a way to restructure his deal. That's a possibility. But one of the hot risers at the combine, which I get it. It depends on how you like these guys that just use physical traits and potential. You just know they're not there yet, but they're such high ceiling guys. Might as well swing for it. So I went with one of those guys because pass rush, I think, is probably after offensive line the biggest concern for the Giants. Trayvon Walker. He's here in the top 10. Does it feel like a reach? It could be. Really depends. But I mean, with the way he tested out, it just doesn't feel like he falls out of the top or like he doesn't make it past maybe like Atlanta, or you could even say Seattle. I mean, they're rebuilding. They'll take guys. They're not going to be top-notch day one. We don't care. Give us talent. We need talent, especially on that defense. So Trayvon Walker going here. Really thought about Sauce. Really thought about Stanley, Hamilton. Really considered all those picks, but I mean, he's just got those traits to be a top-notch pass rusher. So here he is in the top 10. And then the Atlanta Falcons. I stayed put. I went with what I think they would probably do. Went with Sauce Gardner. Rumor. I say rumor, but the talk of the combine in terms of the corners was, a lot of people view Ahmad Gardner as the cornerback 1 in this class. I'm still tossing and turning. I feel like I'm going to end up making that decision after Stanley's pro day. But yeah, Ahmad Gardner, Dean Pease, He loves to leave his corners on an island, incorporating a lot of blitzes. Getting Gardner, pairing him up with A.J. Terrell allows him to do so. All right, so we got a trade here. I know Seattle, I'm sitting here, I didn't really like any of it. I don't think it sounds sexy going safety after you just gave up all that draft capital not too long ago for Jamal Adams. So I was like, maybe the best case scenario is I could trade with a team that might value Kyle Hamilton. They won't let him fall. They're like, you know what, that guy, he could legitimately make a difference to our roster right here, right now. So I trade down. If anything, Seattle, it's like, okay, yeah, we could just trade down, grab more draft capital. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not like we're gonna get a great quarterback here. So let's go ahead, let's trade down. So I did that very thing. If you want to check out the trade, I'll talk about the trades at the end. But I have Baltimore Ravens trading up for Kyle Hamilton. So didn't have to give up too much, but yeah, they grabbed Kyle Hamilton. They love the safety position, so much so. Typically, they have 3 safeties on the field almost at all times. So bringing in a guy like Kyle Hamilton, who is extremely versatile, very rangy. Don't you talk to me about the 40 time. Watch how he ran the 40. It was puzzling. So Kyle Hamilton, I don't see him falling out of the top 10. So they grab him here. New York Jets. So listen, if we're going tackle, then it would be guys like Trevor Penning or Bernhard Raimann. Those are the 2 guys. If we're maybe looking on the inside, maybe a Zion Johnson. I don't know. I don't feel good taking any of those guys at 10. So I think they look outside the trenches and instead they go with the receiving core. And I went with my top guy, Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson, he's got the gravitas to be potentially special in this class. I like his after the catch ability. He showed off the speed. You go Garrett Wilson. They get Zach Wilson, a pass catching target. Wilson to Wilson. Anyway, I got another trade here because I was sitting here. Whose pick was this originally? 11, Washington. And I didn't love everything on the board. I just didn't. I was like, man, can I potentially trade down? Because I know Rivera's like, they're looking for a quarterback to start now. Maybe they're in the Jimmy G market. Maybe they just wait for the Niners to cut him since he's going to be going through surgery. So maybe they were like, yeah, maybe we'll just try to get him in free agency. But yeah, so I do like Sam Howell a lot. It just doesn't feel like the NFL does. It's just he's probably been the most least talked about quarterback prospect in this class among the top guys. So I'm thinking maybe they just trade down. That's a better alternative. And I think a team that could make a trade up after they just re-signed Mike Williams is the LA Chargers, and they go with Jordan Davis. I don't think Jordan Davis makes it past 13. I don't know if he makes it past 12 at the Vikings. Listen, the guy tested out freaky, beyond freaky. Like, he is not even a rare athlete at that size. He's an unheard of athlete. No one expected him to come out and test out like that. That's ridiculous. Do I think he's a 3-down player? No, I think that's still a question. That's still a concern in my mind. You'd be like, well, look at the 40 he ran. It's like, cool. So he gives you that in a spurt. I don't know what you're proving there. But we know the Chargers, their run defense wasn't all that great. We know I think the bare minimum that Davis's floor is an elite run stuffer. Yeah, he didn't show a lot in pass rush. He's very unpolished in that regard. But the traits are just so insane that I think you'd be willing to give that a shot. So they go with Davis here. They trade up. Washington, they're able to move down. Minnesota Vikings, I'm sorry, Vikings. Your cornerback room sucks. I can't help not give you a corner here when corner's the best value on the board. I just can't. Derek Stingley would be a phenomenal get for the Vikings here at 12, so as long as he tests out well. Yeah, I don't know. I can't not do it. It's always the best value when I get to 12 because typically it's either Sauce or Stingley that are available here. So, yeah. All right, Cleveland Browns. For once, I didn't give y'all a receiver. That's right. For once, I didn't do it. I think Jermaine Johnson really exceeded my expectations there at the Combine. I really think he's a guy that maybe his ceiling's a little bit higher than what I expected, at least. I viewed him after the Senior Bowl, like, because before the Senior Bowl, I was like, yo, he's like a fringe first rounder. Like, he's right there. I'm just not sure after the Senior Bowl, or at least the first day of practice. I was like, you know what? Yeah, this guy might firmly be a top 20 pick, because you just see the length, a guy that knows how to use his leverage, a strong lower half. Then he's got those just steel beams for arms. So, yeah, you know what? Yeah, he's top 20. I don't know exactly what the ceiling is on this guy. I don't think it's going to be as high as some of the other edge prospects, but I know his floor is going to be exceptionally high. I think the ceiling is a bit higher than that. So I think he goes somewhere. Honestly, I think the floor right now in the draft for Jermaine Johnson is 15 at the Eagles pick. But Cleveland, I didn't get you a receiver. Plus, there's rumors that Jarvis Landry's going to rework his deal. So it might be back. So maybe grabbing a receiver is not necessarily something they have to do early. And then this is where the Seattle Seahawks traded down. And you know what? I just didn't love every pick here. So you know what? In a draft where it's like a lot of if, ands, and maybes, I was like, who's probably the safest pick here? In all honesty, it was between Tyler Linderbaum and Zion Johnson. And I'm not ready to go off of Tyler Linderbaum as my top interior guy. Like, Seahawks, you've been needed a center forever. You know what? That's something Zion Johnson never did during college. Yeah, okay, at Senior Bowl, he started taking reps under center. Like, okay, he learned it on the fly. I'm still going to take the guy who's been amazing for the past, 3 seasons. Tyler Linderbaum's been great. Do I worry about the length? Not really. They're at center on the interior. Not too concerned about it. The guy's been amazing. Let's see how he tests out. I imagine it's going to be amazing. Put on 3 pounds. That's a plus. Got a little closer to 300. Then again, I feel like he's closer to Jason Kelsey than now people are throwing out, oh, this is Garrett Bradbury all over again. It's like, no. Bradbury wished his tape was as good as Tyler Linderbaum's. I'll just say that. So Seattle, I was able to get extra picks, trade down, and I got a safe player. It doesn't feel incredibly sexy, but you know what? Center's been an extreme big weakness for the Seahawks. For a team that's probably going to want to run the ball a lot next year with Drew Lock or Geno Smith under center, I think Tyler Linderbaum makes a ton of sense. And then the Philadelphia Eagles with their first pick, rumor is they are willing to trade up if they have to for David Ojabo, so he made it here in this draft. So they grabbed David Ojabo, edge just flew off the board, and you know what? Ojabo was the next edge on my board anyway, so he tested out pretty well. So yeah, he goes here. I pause at this pick. Normally I'm like, let's check out, because the Eagles have the 16th pick. Typically I'm like, oh, let's look at both picks and talk about them. That's not the case. They made a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers trade up to actually jump Washington, who's pick 17. But it's not the Eagles exchanged first rounders. The Eagles traded into the 2023 draft. So it's not a 1-for-1 switch. The Eagles did get reimbursed a bit more too. Again, we'll go over that at the end. But the Steelers will actually have 2 first-round picks in this. The Eagles, they will have 2 first-round picks in this. So we'll go over the trades at the end. But yeah, this is the Steelers. They trade up and they take Desmond Ridder. Listen, I think the NFL is exceptionally high on Desmond Ridder. He's my QB3. I may love Sam Howell, but I think that Ridder's probably going to go before Howell. I just really do. You can make the case for Pickett. Listen, I think the only teams that might be interested in Pickett are dome teams. And I get the argument with like, he may have the small hands, literally they'd be the smallest in NFL history for an NFL starter in the modern era. But he does wear 2 gloves. It's something he's been doing his whole career. It's something he's used to doing. So it may or may not be a problem in the NFL, or it may not be as big of a problem as people make it out to be. Still, you had like the 36 fumbles over his career. Still, he, in like year 4.5 as a starter, is when he had his breakout year, because he was very middling before that. So I feel like there's still too many questions, too many red flags for me to consider him here. So, yeah, Steelers get Ritter. I think he might be one of the more pro-ready guys. He's got good straight line speed. The guy's got an arm. Can he be wildly inaccurate at times? Yeah, sure, but they get their franchise quarterback here, and they're able to retain that 20th pick. That might become key. So with that, Washington, I'm not going to lie, I traded back because I was going to take Desmond Ridder for Washington. Like, that whole trade back for me was like, okay, like, I can see the Chargers trading up one to get Jordan Davis because, like, he's not going to last that long. So if I trade back, I'm trading back in front of the Saints. So I could probably get Desmond Ridder. If Seattle doesn't take him, I'll try to big brain it because I do this pick by pick. I'm trying to, like, with each move, I'm trying to big brain the next move. Like, oh, now that this team did this, what do I do with this? Like, yeah, it's a freaking load of fun. But I'm sitting here, and you know what? Desmond Ridder's off the board for Washington, but I'm still cool with Sam Howell. I love Sam Howell. Like, this guy's got an incredible touch. He's got a strong arm, throws with a lot of spin. He's got plus athleticism. Is he ready to go from the gates? Probably not, but I think he's more so than like a Malik Willis. And I think he's a lot closer than people put him out to be. This is a guy that had a shoulder his team, put the team on his back. Hold on real quick. Had to put the team on his back last season because he lost all his weapons, and he was the offense. The only reason that team was viable last year was because of Sam Howell. So Washington grabs him here. So here being the Saints, I'm not taking the 4th best quarterback in the draft. I know we're a dome team. I know, hey, we face Atlanta. They're a dome team. So Kenny Pickett, you'll be getting 9 games a year in a dome. That's ideal. I'm not about that. Maybe the Saints, maybe they bring back Jameis Winston. If they do that, they restructured Michael Thomas. So I think getting someone competent someone competent next to Michael Thomas is key. So I went with Chris Olavey. A lot of people sleeping on Chris Olavey. He's not simply just a burner. This is a guy that can win on all levels of the field. He is a guy, I think he creates incredible separation. Going over the last 2.5 seasons, I think he had he had a step or two of separation on 87% of his passes over the last 2.5 seasons, which is first among anyone over that time period. Though Garrett Wilson actually this year actually created more separation than Chris Olave. Over the more long-term sample size, it was Chris Olave. But yeah, no, I think it'd be a great number 2. I think literally his floor in the NFL is solid number 2 receiver with potential first wide receiver 1 upside. So I took him here. He feels safe. He's something the Saints need. So yeah, he just felt safer than guys like Drake London, than Treylon Burks, Jameson Williams coming off the ACL too. So he just felt safer than those guys. And then this is the second Philadelphia Eagles pick, and this is where we're gonna see the first linebacker, Devin Lloyd. You may be like, oh, he didn't test all that well. Yeah, but his game translates so well to the NFL. You know what you're getting in Devin Lloyd. I think he's going to be a solid linebacker for years to come. And guess what, Eagles? You don't really have one on the roster. Maybe TJ Edwards, but still, you really don't have a solid. You have one of the worst linebacking cores in the league. So you might be like, oh, we haven't drafted one of those in 40 years. Well, that means it should happen at some point, right? All right. So with the Pittsburgh Steelers' next pick, I thought about Zion Johnson, but that means him moving to right guard. Probably something he can do. Maybe playing center, but again, that's something he learned off the fly. I'd rather play him at guard. I'd rather play him at tackle because the dude tested out pretty darn well. I think he could maybe be a tackle if you need him to be. He's got a bit more flexibility, versatility than you would think. But instead, I went with someone I think is going to probably go in the top 15 just because the NFL loves a guy with this type of mentality. Matter of fact, the Steelers would love a guy with this mentality. Trevor Penning. He's going to be the new left tackle for the Steelers. Maybe they don't start him there right away. I don't know, but they get their quarterback of the future. They get their left tackle of the future. Yeah, they had to give up first-round pick next year, but, I mean, you're getting literally 2 cornerstones to your offense, so I feel like that's a win-win. New England Patriots. This one was tough. I ended up going with Drake London. I just don't see this guy falling. I just don't. But then again, it's the NFL draft. Good players fall. I think he's going to test out well on his pro day. He said he was still recovering. Not necessarily recovering, but with how his rehabbing and preparing for the combine worked out, he just didn't feel like he was ready to run there at the combine, which is fair. Hey, if teams are already viewing you as a top 1 or 2 receiver in this class, then go ahead, make the business decision. Go perform at your pro day. Have the home field advantage. It's just a smart thing to do. It shouldn't be a red flag like, maybe I'm a little concerned now. It's like, no, it's just a wise business decision at that point. Like, just go back to his tape. The dude's a great contested catch guy. He's a very smooth athlete. May not be the fastest athlete, but he's a smooth athlete. Huge catch radius. Can create after the catch. Drake London, I think, be a solid addition to the Patriots. Then with that being said, Las Vegas Raiders, man, things got tough now with Russell Wilson in the division. So even if I think you better invest in some guys that could cover. So I will win Trent McDuffie. I'm a lot higher on Trent McDuffie than some people. I think he's a really good fit to the offense or to the defense in terms of the coverage scheme. He even if they bring back Casey Hayward, it's like cornerback depth is never a bad thing. So they grab cornerback depth here, and you're gonna with the quarterbacks and the receiving threats there in the AFC West. You better be deep at corner. You just have to be. So went with Trent McDuffie, great value. Arizona Cardinals again. I just kind of went with value though. It wasn't a. Oh, here let me get my boy here. Oh, Joe, what's wrong, my friend? Come here. The Chiefs pick aren't up. The Chiefs aren't up yet, dude. He's a big Chiefs fan. He didn't want to miss the Chiefs pick. Bandwagoner. Oh, thanks, buddy. Hey, Akila's back there too. Akila doesn't care about football. She doesn't care about nobody. Arizona Cardinals. I kind of went. I was thinking receiver, but I don't know. The guys I'd consider here: Treylon Burks, Jameson Williams. Cliff Kingsbury doesn't run a vertical passing scheme. He just does it, you know? I mean, they brought AJ Green to town, and that amounted to really a whole hot lot of nothing. So just skip more protection for Kyler Murray, a very apparently unhappy Kyler Murray, and Zion Johnson, a guy who could play all over your offensive line. I think they really have a good piece there at right guard in Josh Jones. He was a guy I was pretty high on. If you take the penalties out, he had a hell of a year. Of course, he can't do that. He just needs to play more discipline. It was his first year of seeing significant playing time. I think he will get better. I really believe in that. So they grab Zion Johnson. Plus, you got Rodney Hudson there, who's an older guy anyway. So maybe Zion Johnson, another guy that maybe is your heir apparent at center or left guard, one of the two. And then Dallas Cowboys, I just can't see. This guy's not falling out of the first round. George Karlaftis. He's such a hard guy to project where he goes because you look at him and he's like, you know what? Am I concerned he didn't do the 3-cone? Not really. I anticipated that would have been something he wouldn't have done anyway, but you saw the explosiveness on I think it was the vert or the broad jump he did. Oh crap, I don't have the NFL combine well, okay, I got my stats up here. I believe he did both. So a 38 in the vert. Shoot, I think that was only behind Jeremiah Moon, who actually tested out with the linebackers. Yeah, but that was the second highest among the edge guys. Again, if you're counting Jeremiah Moon as a linebacker, then it was tied for first. And then 125 in the broad wasn't the biggest, but it was up there. It was up there. He tied Boye Mafe, who's one of the better prospects in this class. So, oh no, it was 121. I was looking at Jermaine Johnson. Okay, so it was closer to like David Ajabo. So still, the explosiveness looked good. That was my biggest question going in. I think he answered that question very nicely. The short shuttle was pretty solid. So I think you're getting a guy that's gonna translate exceptionally well. He's gonna be a good football player for you. They've been struggling to find a guy to really kind of sure up that edge spot, especially with DeMarcus Lawrence, who was out most of last year, now might be a cap casualty. I don't know, we'll see, but it's great value, I think, in my honest opinion. And then the Buffalo Bills, I really thought about taking like a Jameson Williams or a Treylon Burks, but then I thought I was getting too cute. Instead, I just kept on my board, kept with who the higher prospect was, being Devontae Wyatt. He helps with the run game. He's very explosive. He tests out, like, if it wasn't for Jordan Davis, like, we'd be talking about Devontae Wyatt in the day he had. We'd be talking about Travis Jones in the day he had. But, of course, a guy like Jordan Davis comes out, unheard of athlete at that size, and now these guys are kind of an afterthought. Not really. Devontae Wyatt, I think, could go higher than this. I could see him going higher than this, but I think it'd be a good get for the Buffalo Bills. There wasn't a corner I liked here. Yeah, Wyatt was just the higher guy. Then Tennessee Titans, tough go. Couldn't really figure out entirely where to go, but I figured this be a good spot for Treylon Burks because he didn't meet those stupid, ridiculous expectations people set for him. Like, all of us were buying into the hype, and then he came out and, okay, you're chewing my shoe, bud? What the heck? Get that out your mouth. Don't be a bad dog. Don't do it. Don't do it. But still, a guy for his size, he ran exceptionally well, I thought. I didn't think he was that explosive. I kind of questioned a little bit of that coming into this anyway, that I didn't really think he was an explosive athlete. He was a guy that mainly lined up in the slot and got a lot of free releases. And I think you could start him out there. You got Julio on the outside. You got, who's the other guy? AJ Brown, stupid, on the outside. You could have Burks in the slot. So now you have all this size and just after the catch ability on the field at the same time. I think that's scary. I like that. Bucks, this was tough. So I ended up trading down. And you know what? I didn't like it at the end of this. Like, if anything, this was probably my worst pick in the draft. I'll just say that. And I've done this once before, so Colts fans hate me. I had them trade up and take Kenny Pickett. I was like, you know what? Listen, Kenny Pickett, I think he's going to the first round. Would I take him? No. But I think he's going to the first round. He's just a good character guy. He's a guy that could be maybe a top 15 quarterback in the league consistently. And if you have the right parts around him, then it'll do well. That's just who I think he is. And the Colts are kind of built that way. Like, they have a wonderful, wonderful squad that's just looking for that guy to sit behind center, make good decisions, and just not turn over the ball. And I think Kenny Pickett could do that for them. So, again, we'll go over the trade at the end, but yeah, no, that's kind of what I did there. And the Green Bay Packers, listen, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. You better freaking get him some help and a receiver. I imagine he wouldn't have came back if he didn't think you would help him out. So Jameson Williams falling down the board, just too much. This is great value at this point. You got you got Alan Lazard there, who's a wonderful blocker, a bigger, taller receiver that's pretty good at the vertical, but then you get a guy that's real shifty, that just creates oodles and oodles of separation. I think he has elite start-stop ability. I don't think he falls out of the first round. I think he's one of the better receivers in this class. I got him ahead of guys like I think I got him ahead of Burks and Olavey. So like, yeah, no, I just couldn't pass on that here. They're losing MVS, so yeah, I think trade down's actually another option here because I imagine they're not going to have a ton of cap space because they also franchised Devontae Adams. So yeah, Miami Dolphins. It's not incredibly sexy, but Bernhard Raimann, he's a guy. He fits the scheme. I think you could start him tomorrow. Be A-okay. I think he's a lot more ready to start than a guy like Trevor Penning. I actually have Bernhard ahead of Trevor Penning in my rankings. It's just I think the NFL is going to love Trevor Penning. But Raimann, I thought tested out great. I think it was on par with the guy like Trevor Penning. Good scheme for the Dolphins. If we're going to go with the guy, like an offensive line talent here, he'd probably be the guy I want because I don't think guys like Zion Johnson are going to fall to us. So, yeah, no, I like it here. Kansas City Chiefs. I think you might hate this. I really do. I really think you're going to hate this. So, they franchised Orlando Brown. There we go. Honey Badger's going to free agency. They're also losing, I believe, Ward? Is it Ward or Fenton going to free agency? Chiefs free agents. Let's see. I mean, this could be also a spot for Travis Jones with Reed going to free agency. It's Ward. Travis Ward. All right. So he's a free agent, so they could go corner. Hello. So they could go corner. But I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm not like Kyrie Elam and Booth. Those are the next two guys, and I don't like them here. I just don't. So what then? I think I'm going to go with another guy that kind of blew it up at the combine in Lewis Cine. Oh, here, let me switch over here. There we go. Lewis Cine, man. He blew it up. You could put him or Daxton Hill. I just think Cine provides a bit more versatility than a guy like Daxton Hill. Like, I feel better with Cine in the run game than I do Daxton Hill. Daxton Hill's, I think, more so like he could play in the slot, but I like Cine better versus the run if we were to line him up in the slot. Cine does have that versatility, tested out way faster than I expected. I think he jumped to my safety too, but him and Hill are really, really close together. It's really pick who you like because I still think the more fluent athlete is Hill. I'd rather him be kind of like a center fielder. But Cine, with the Chiefs looking for maybe a more versatile guy, I think Cine could be that, a guy that can play around the line of scrimmage. So, edge was a consideration. Boye Mafe probably be the next guy off the board, but I went with Cine. And then Cincinnati Bengals, I went with Kenyon Green. I know he didn't have a good combine. He didn't test out extraordinary. But you know what? He tested out about average for the position. I think this guy's going to be an exceptionally good guard in the league. I mean, with his athletic testing, no way he's a tackle anymore. That dream, long past. He's going to be a guard, so they go ahead, they grab Green, who I think you could start tomorrow, and he'll be exceptionally good. With the next and final pick for the Detroit Lions, I was thinking Nakobe Dean. I'm gonna say I'd rather roll the dice here and say, okay, I don't think the Jags will take Dean, so maybe we could pick him up with our first pick in the second round. And let's really, I kind of wanted to swing it for the fences. You'd be like, you just did with Malik Willis, dude. What are you doing? I'm gonna go with Christian Watson. I don't know how he'll fit out here, man. Like, legit, his testing was insane. He was great at the Senior Bowl. Like, his tape's pretty darn good. Like, I don't know where he fits in this among the top wide receivers. I really don't know. Like, I'm gonna have to go back and look, but I don't know how you can't take Christian Watson in the first round. If he goes higher than this, then fine. Yeah, I believe it. It just marvels me. Like, I go back, I look at like how he tested, and I know testing ain't everything, but it really helps. It really helps if you're like kind of like between some guys, and like that 4.36, that's incredible for a guy his size, 6'4", 208. And then the broad, he's explosive. Is he a contested catch guy? No. Is he a guy that I think could run every route under the sun? No. But he's a guy on our vertical route tree that will get separation. He's going to dust some guys. He's got some moves. He really does. And I think putting him on the outside, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown who could play the outside or in the slot. You're creating a good receiver room there. So I'm going to roll the dice. Maybe I could get Nakobe Dean there with our second pick. But I don't think the Jags would have passed up on Christian Watson. I really don't. Because they need help at receiver. I was thinking about this. I was like, okay, so the Jags get the next pick. Who would they go with? Who are they more likely to take? Nakobe Dean? Or would they look to help Trevor Lawrence and strengthen that receiving core that was kind of a weakness last year that's also going to be losing DJ Chark? Yeah, I don't know. Christian Watson, I think he goes in the first. I don't think he could, he's had the best draft, off-season draft process of anybody. Like, the Senior Bowl was great, and then he just tests out like a monster. I guess let's go ahead. Let's get into the trades real quick. We'll see how I did. Y'all always criticize the value of the trades. Is what it is. Let me try to fit. All right, so for that Baltimore pick, this is how it went down. So Baltimore gave away, because they have a lot of fourth-round picks, so I gave away a third and 2 fourths. I got back a fourth and a fifth. So that seemed about right. Yeah, you're trading into the top 10, but it's not like Baltimore they're sitting there at 14. Shouldn't have to trade up too much, so essentially they give up. They give up a third. That's kind of big. They turn a fourth into a fifth. And they just move down 6 spots from their original 4th-round pick. So I think to get a guy like Kyle Hamilton, you're not giving away too much. I don't. So I don't know. You let me know how that pick, how that trades Garbo in the comment section. The next one, this was it for the Chargers and the Washington Commanders. So they obviously trade up to get Jordan Davis, and then they pick up a 7th rounder. In Washington, they get a 4th and 2 7th rounders. So that is what the trade looked like there. Essentially, really, it's just Washington moves down and they pick up a fourth. Feels like maybe they could have got more, but it is what it is. Then we have, oh yeah, this Eagles Steelers one. Let's see how this one goes. So they get the Eagles pick at 16. They give up a first rounder, a second rounder this year, and then a seventh rounder. So, I mean, honestly, if you're the Steelers, okay, yeah, we gave away a first this year or next year, and we give away our second, but you're potentially getting your cornerstone left tackle and your quarterback of the future, your franchise. I think that's worth it. So, and then this one I just hated. I'm just gonna say that right now. All right, so this trade, how it went down. Basically the Bucks, they get the second, third, and fifth, and the Colts, they grab a fourth and the 27th to get what hopefully is their franchise quarterback. But yeah, again, I don't know. This felt weird. It felt janky. It didn't feel right completely. Just now you have Seattle on the first. Like, you let me know what you think, man. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead and do that YouTube thing as always. Until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.